practice is investigating micro stress, or you could just call it stress. For me, I am describing it as a micro stress, in that often when I socialize or with roommates or in any sort of social interaction, I often notice really, really small parts of my body sort of like clench up. This tightening sensation happens. And this is, this whole, all my words and this practice is a guide to modify. I'm just describing what I experience, and what you experience might be really different. And that's no problem. So just to offer something from what I'm experiencing of this micro-tightening. It's like real low-key stress, but it's there. And so what I'm doing first is kind of coming to do a real easygoing body scan and noticing, like, oh, what areas are having this tightening feeling happen right now? And as you scan around, it might change. That's perfectly normal. Just noticing what you notice of this tightening feeling. Starting with the head area, perhaps. Just taking note, like it's like you would like sort of, if you had a notepad and you're a detective and you're like writing down clues. These are all sort of just clues. And you want to get articulate about the clues. An easygoing body scan, but like articulate by, like you want to describe it in some way, like a location. Do I feel stress in my head, in the front part, in the back part, on the right or left, over here or up here, wherever you feel yours, or whether you feel nothing. And then kind of coming down to the neck area, and again, this like right down on your description list. We're searching around for this tension feeling, noticing if it's in your inside of your throat, neck, or on the outside of your throat, neck. Sort of where, if it's there. And then shoulder regions. And then sort of checking out your back with your mind's eye. Do you notice any of those micro tensions in your upper back? And bringing your mind's touch down your spine. Maybe you feel nothing. Maybe you notice some nerves or muscles or whatever it is making some sensation. In your lower back. And if your back's here and then your front belly's here, this middle zone, going from the back through the middle of yourself up to the skin of your belly. So we're going to kind of like X-ray attention from your back to the front part of your middle. All those guts, that spine, whatever's in there. Not needing to know what organ or tissue it's connected to, just kind of getting a loose idea of the region. On the right, left, front, back, up, down. And coming up to the chest. Again, doing this three-dimensional searching with the mind's eye. This front skin of the chest. You can maybe feel your ribs, all of this breast tissue, pectoral tissue. From that front going to the back of your back. Easy going, maybe you feel something, maybe not. And then going downward again into this pelvic bowl region, and you can like take your hands and feel your pelvic bones. And you can kind of trace them around, making this whole like your pubis bone, and then you got your tailbone and your pelvic bones on the side, this kind of bowl. And checking out all this soft tissue and muscles and nerves and bones in that region. Not needing to decide what is what in a real hard boxed way, but just noticing, again, that sort of more in the front or bottom or right or left. If you notice some of this tension sensation. And then checking out your arms, your whole right arm into your fingers, spending a moment scanning up and down, noticing, is there any sort of like tension or something similar to this tension? And then with the other arm, scanning with your mind's feeler up and down your arm. And you might notice other things beyond tension. It's just this practice is sort of like investigating the tensions. So you might like say hello to other sensations on your way. And then coming to the legs in a similar way. Taking a moment with your left leg all the way down into your foot. Is there anything of this quality that we're kind of investigating? And then the other leg. Again, going for sort of location like the front of your leg or back of your leg or the side, or can get more and more refined in your location, or just sort of notice like over there. And so just taking a second and like maybe playing with like one or two of these areas and giving them a sort of like hello. It's like if you just see a stranger on the street and you just say hello to them, giving this kind of offering of like, oh, I see you. I see you. And really just staying with one or going from one to the other, two areas, just for like a moment, just in this I see you way, just continue to see them. Let them change if they do. For me, it's even helpful to sort of mentally repeat, like, I see you. I am here with you. I acknowledge you're there. And then mixing this with another sort of practice of looking for some part on my body that, on your body, on my body, on your body, that feels like neutral or even vital feeling, like feels good, feels like ready to go, and no worries are happening in it. And it could be for you, there's not an area, like everywhere has a worry. So what I want, like, going for maybe like, like the best you got to work with in this moment is like something that you can barely even feel, like your tooth or your nose cartilage or your ear or a finger. Look for some part of you that feels like it's not really affected by this particular stress, and it has sort of like a vital feeling. Just scan around. And I'm going to intentionally play with a neutral one for myself, just because I think it's a little trickier. So I just want to offer it. The ones that sort of already feel vital are a little bit easier to work with. And so working with one that I can barely, like, the sensation of the tension feeling is very loud, and the sensation of this, like, neutral finger is very low. So I have to really dive into trying to feel my finger. I mean, I can feel it, like I'm aware I have a finger, but like to turn up the volume on the sensation by increasing my curiosity. Do I feel the air on the skin of this finger? Oh yeah. And noticing, does this finger feel cold or warm? A little creaky or really limber? Like, is it a dry stick or is it more like a damp clay? And then I might even like smell the finger. Could be you're working with a body part that you can't smell. It's just another way to like look for neutral-esque aspects about how this neutral feeling place on you feels. And noticing, is there any sort of movement or a lack of movement? Like, I'm holding my finger like this, right? And it's requiring a little bit of muscles. If I let go of trying completely, it would just sort of like fall down a little bit. So you might be working with a different body part, but in my case, for example, I'm noticing, oh yeah, a little bit of muscles are required. Can I feel those muscles working? And there is like the slightest like micro vibration that I notice. Maybe it's muscles, maybe it's something else, but anyway. And noticing, can I hear my heart? Can I like feel or see with my mind's eye my heartbeat in my finger? Maybe, maybe not, but I'm really trying to notice. The goal is to just give it a try, not to necessarily achieve anything particular. And then being like, okay, thanks finger, or like, oh, hey finger, I see you. And then coming back to these other spots that you were working with before this, with it, they had this stress tension feeling. Noticing how they are now. Maybe they're the same, maybe you still feel nothing, maybe they've changed. However they are, just coming back to the few or one or two or so that you were working with. Noticing Just noticing. And then giving them a sort of like, thank you for practicing. Or if that doesn't feel right, just like an acknowledgement of goodbye. Of like, okay, I see you.